Eagles Commanders. Give me an opening statement.
Yeah, the offensive line of the Commanders, you need to make up for what you weren't able to do last week versus the New Orleans Saints. You allowed 8 sacks, and that's with a very athletic quarterback in Jaden Daniels. I know right now, if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, if I'm Jalen Carter and the rest of the guys on that defensive line, I'm foaming at the mouth. I want some of that action, boss.
Meanwhile, back to Saturday.
Okay, let's talk about this game. There's been not a lot of talk about the Commanders this week, and it's been really frustrating because I've been trying to make Commanders content, and it's just like, it just doesn't really work, which is frustrating. If you guys know other places, like I'm looking on NFL Live, Get Up, First Things First, The Herd, like all the usual places, and I got nothing. This is the closest we got to this game. But this is definitely a tough game for the Commanders and Jaden Daniels. The Eagles clearly have all of the momentum. They're a legitimate top team in the NFL, a true top contender. There's like no mincing words about it. That is who they are. I know they have a little bit of drama on the sidelines and, A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, stuff like that, but they're obviously a top team. They're obviously great. And the truth is that they not only have beaten the Commanders, but they've also beaten other teams that the Commanders have lost to, whether it be like the Ravens, the Steelers, etc. So I think this game, if the Commanders can really hold their own, I think that goes a long way. I don't even think they need to win, quite frankly. I really don't. Because like I've kept saying about the Commanders and Jaden Daniels in general is that the expectation should always be much smaller than what this team's buzz started to get after they started winning some games, and Jaden Daniels was balling, and we were talking about Jaden Daniels being an MVP candidate and all that type of stuff. But you got to keep in perspective really what the trajectory and what the timeline is of this team, and the fact that they're even going to be in the playoffs, at least they should be in the playoffs, is already like just significantly ahead of schedule, and just shows you how much on the right track you really are. And so I don't think, though, that you should expect yourself to potentially beat the team that has like the second best odds or third, whatever it is, to win the Super Bowl, to reach the Super Bowl. It's just a tough ask. And so that's why I'm just kind of looking to see, like, can they keep up? Even if they get blown out, it wouldn't matter to me, honestly. I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Well, this is a great team right now that's really peaking right at the time that you want to peak. So it just wouldn't surprise me. But I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. I'm not predicting any type of game, honestly, because I really don't know. And that's kind of the exciting part about having a quarterback like Jaden Daniels. It's very similar to that of someone like a Lamar or Josh Allen, where you just like don't know at any point this quarterback can like really just explode and take over a game. And that is as obviously what Jaden Daniels' potential has in any given game. And I understand the O-line and all of that. And that was kind of the issue going into the season in the first place. And the Eagles have, definitely been able to bring it from that regard. And I'm just curious to see how can the Commanders manage some of these things, not to mention, stopping the run game from Saquon. Does Jalen Hurts turn into a passer in this game? And in a lot of ways, seeing what Jalen Hurts was able to do against the Pittsburgh Steelers almost kind of now probably even confuses the Commanders to a little bit of a degree, because at first they were probably like thinking, we just got to take away the run. And then now when the Eagles were like, okay, fine, we're not going to run the ball as much, we're going to throw the ball. And they were able to really pick apart the Steelers. And so now it's kind of like, okay, well, where do you want to put your focus on? Do you want to try to take away AJ, or do you want to take away Saquon? Do you want to keep Jalen Hurts in the pocket, or do you want to push him out of the pocket? Like that's the layers that this Eagles team have. And that's one of those things that then just makes them a difficult team to play against and to beat. And you just have to ask yourself, like, do the Commanders have the pieces to be able to reliably stop that? Because I would say that the Eagles are playing even better now than they were the first time around. Whereas I would say the Commanders are definitely healthier, and Jaden's going to be playing better, but it's not, I wouldn't say that it's like this big gigantic step forward necessarily. But all in all, this should still be a really good game, and a game that I'm definitely excited for. I'm just happy that these games now really matter and are relevant. Eagles, Commanders, it's definitely it's definitely exciting to kind of have this rivalry rekindled, because I really think it's been kind of like non-existent for a pretty long time, quite frankly. And now there is a quarterback that could legitimately strike the fear into the Philadelphia Eagles. It's someone that they have to contain, they have to worry about, they have to manage, they have to, they're going to have moments probably where Jaden Daniels does scramble for a little bit, throw the ball down the field, and beautiful, like the touchdown pass that he had to, I think it was McLaurin. So, like, you're going to have those moments where you're probably going to see, like, Jalen Carter, like, huffing and puffing on his sides, and Jaden Daniels just kind of scrambled and was able to turn what should have been a loss into a 15-yard gain or something. Like, those types of moments can really add up throughout a game, and it's not something that the Eagles had to really necessarily deal with when facing the Commanders as of late. So, yeah, I wonder what Commanders fans are expecting out of this game, because again, I know it's always hard to admit when your division rival is a good team, is a great team, quite frankly, and obviously has a lot of momentum, obviously a top team. Like, you never want to admit it, but if you can be that type of fan where you can admit it, it's like, power to you, credit to you. I know you always want to believe that your team can win, and the Commanders, that'd be very clear, absolutely can win this game, because I don't think that the Eagles are, as great as they are. I don't think any team in the league right now is this unstoppable force where you're just like, oh my God, like, oh, how could we ever stop them? It's just going to be hard. And that's why if the Commanders do find a way to slow down the Eagles, or just, in a lot of ways, I'm kind of on the fence with this, because I was going to say, in a lot of ways, if the Commanders were able to win like an ugly game against them, like some like ugly low scoring game with like one of those weird scores, 15-12 or something, like, I would say that would almost be a huge gain for the Commanders to kind of like win this like muddied, messy game going into the playoffs. I think that could really kind of go a long way for them against a top contender. But on the other side, I'm kind of thinking, like, if they even just keep up in a shootout, even if it's just like again a 42-35, but the Commanders still lose, and as long as that score is actually indicative of the game and not one of those, yeah, they were down like 2 scores, they were down like 17 points going into the last 7 minutes of the fourth quarter, but it really was this kind of back and forth, kind of, and a little bit kind of what happened in that Bengals game. I think that would kind of go a long way as well. So there's still a lot to gain from even just playing well in this game, especially when you have a rookie quarterback, because it's just kind of further proof and further evidence and further confidence building and team building, for that matter, to show like, we got a quarterback, or I am the quarterback that can keep up in this game, right? I'm not our limiting factor. I'm not the reason why we can't win this game. So it's like we can rally behind that. We can get together. If we come up with the right game plan, or the right players step up at the right time, then we can win this game. And that's really ultimately what I feel as though you're trying to signal in a game like this, at this point in the season, at this point in someone like Jaden's career. I don't think it needs to be any greater than that. You're the Commanders, even if they win this game, you're not going to be like, we're putting the league on notice, we're here. Like, I just don't think that's what's at stake right now. I think unless the Commanders really have a switch that they can really flip, then by all means. But like, in order for that to have happened, I would have need to see them like almost probably roll the Saints. And then if you like roll the Saints, and then even if you just lose a close game, or obviously beat the Eagles, then you really are kind of like, oh man, can this team get out there? Can this team make it to the NFC Championship game? Very similar to what happened with the Buccaneers, honestly. They lost a couple close games, lost a close game to the Chiefs, and you're kind of like, they're kind of hanging on there. And then they rolled a couple teams. They rolled the Chargers. Like, then you start to signal, you're like, whoa, okay, like, this team might be a little bit better than I thought they were. And you kind of build that narrative a little bit. Now, granted, this could be the beginning of that narrative. Absolutely, if they do that to the Eagles. But the time, there's only so many games left. So you kind of start to run out a runway here. So, but either way, all in all, I'm definitely pumped for this game, and I think the Commanders should definitely play much better than they did last season. Oh my God, last game against the Eagles, and I'm excited to see what Jaden Daniels, what type of steps forward are possible in a game like this, because we saw what he looked like in the first matchup and there was a lot of concerns. Oh, he was injured. There was some miscommunication in various plays. McLaurin was not really involved. Like there was kind of some issues that we were like, what's going on here? What's happening? And I'm excited to see what round 2 essentially looks like, more specifically for this offense than anything, honestly. What can this offense do against this top level, high level defense? That's ultimately what I'm looking for more than anything. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Washington Commanders versus the Philadelphia Eagles? Who you got in this game? What do you think is kind of like the important takeaway? What do you think is important for the Commanders to be able to do or prove in this game? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.